Up, you beautiful people? Welcome back to another episode of Unaligned and Unfiltered. Today, I am joined by Claudia, the Scoli Coach online, and I'm so excited to hear more about her journey. So welcome, Claudia, and thank you so much for coming on the pod. How are you doing?
I'm so excited to be here as well, and thank you for having me. I'm really looking forward to being able to talk more about scoliosis with you and your wonderful people that listen.
I know I did a little research on you. I know you were diagnosed at 13, and like most of us in the beautiful scoliosis community, we got told to wait and see. So I just want you to take me on that journey because I know a lot of us definitely resonate with that because then we years later start finding all the tools that we needed. So take me on your journey, Claudia.
It's funny because the apartment that I'm in right now, so I can actually just looking in the corner over there in that space, holds a lot of trauma, but memory for me because that is the spot where my mum first noticed my scoliosis. Because I was folding forward, I was in a bikini, and she noticed, and just my mum being British mum was like, "What's that on your back?" And I'm like, "What?" Just like that original, like, what do you mean? And then she's like holding me and moving me in funny positions and just seeing, that I look crooked. And it was that first realization. And then my sister's looking and everyone's like, "What?" I just realized it for the first time. And it's like being put on this like pedestal. Suddenly your whole family's looking at your back. And so I think about that sometimes in this apartment. I'm like, oh, this is where it all started. When I was 13.
That's wild. You're there right now too.
I know. If anyone listening, I'm at my mum's apartment in Mallorca that she's obviously had for a very long time. And every time I'm here, it reminds me of the start of my scoliosis journey. So when we got back to the UK, we went to see, and I was 13 and I went with my mum and dad into London and went and saw a specialist and, got, like you said, the classic wait and see, because my scoliosis wasn't severe enough for surgery, and there was talk of bracing at the time, but I do remember my parents were just straight away like, no, we're not doing that. I think
it wasn't have a brace. Just wanted to clarify that. I wasn't sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
I never had a brace, and I support wearing braces. I think wearing braces is, especially in adolescence, I think it's really important. I just skipped that, but I think my parents were both just straight away like, no, and that's fair enough. That was obviously the journey that I was destined to be on. And I remember so I went to see one guy, got my x-ray, got told wait and see. I went to see another guy, and I remember him telling me, I think I was probably 14 at this time, and he was like, like you're going to need to do some stretches and stuff as you get older. But apart from that, like, it's going to be okay. And it probably won't really progress and, all of that. So, yeah.
Oh my goodness. That really gets the narrative for so many people.
Really
wild to me. It's just it never gets old.
It never gets old, and it's still being told now. So it's like, that's why we do social media and try and get the word out there that you don't have to wait and see.
Don't wait and see. Don't do it.
Yes. And so obviously I had that and had the trauma, I guess, of dealing with scoliosis as a teenager.
Definitely.
I was very in my body. I noticed how crooked I was. I used to lie to my friends and tell them that I don't even know. I was just so much like ashamed and embarrassed.
Yeah.
I remember one friend I was 15 and she kind of pointed at my back and was like, what's that? Like, what's going on with your back? And I was like, oh, like, nothing. I'm just like, I have an injury or something. I think I've said that I fell off my bed. And I know, just looking back at that now, but it's that fear and that, that shame and that embarrassment, I think that we all go through, especially at such a young age when you're really dealing with that and not having the support. I really had no support. It was just wait and see, and you're on your own. And that was that. I know.
It's just like so, just gets me every time. Because it's just like, it's so much to go through as a kid. And then you're just like, you're told this thing, you notice your body's changing. Or now it's like more in your head now because you're diagnosed. But then they don't give you anything. And it just makes me so mad for like our younger self. But also, kind of one thing I found really beautiful from one videos that I saw come across was you actually said that you think that your spine was made like this so you could help others. And I imagine like, you know, like still staying here at like 15, but like that journey to get there, it must have been a long one. Because I know you also talk about, I personally really relate to this because I know you said like you went through that as a kid. When did you kind of, I guess like, I know you said in your 20s, but you talk about, like I personally had a spinal fusion and still never did corrective exercises, didn't know anything about Schroth. So it's like we're always just consistently, I feel like, just moving along. How do you feel like you got to that place of acceptance and love instead of that shame from being 15 years old?
Yeah, it's a really good question, and it's definitely been a long journey. I'm 34 now, so it's been a long time. But
I didn't know we were the same age. Cool.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah, the universe works in mysterious ways like that, but I love it. The what happened when I was early 20s, I don't know what it was, but I had this really deep sense of I had to do something work-wise to work with scoliosis, and I didn't even know what that was. I had studied as a geologist. Actually, I went to university for 5 years getting a master's in geology, and I worked in exploration mining and just like really briefly, and it was just like I had this epiphany, and I was like, this is not for me. This is not the path that I want to go down. So I got into fitness. So I went back to school and I trained in personal training, and I went to India and studied my yoga and got really into that world. And that was a massive introduction into the human body and movement and muscles and bones and fascia and all of the stuff that I find so fascinating now. But getting into that journey and really connecting with my body when I started working in personal training made me look at my own scoliosis for a moment, because I realized how traumatized I was by having scoliosis. I think by the time I was 25, I really started to notice this trauma, because I remember I was working in a gym and one of the other personal trainers noticed my back and pointed it out, ran away and cried. And I remember my manager coming after me and being like, "Are you okay? What's wrong?" And I was trying to explain to her that I'm upset because he noticed my back. And it was just that kind of moment of realization. I was like, why am I crying over this? Like, what's going on here? What is that trauma? And I was like, I need to really start working with this and getting to understand this a little bit more. That took years to actually turn into anything. By the time I was 27, I was still kind of ignoring my scoliosis and pretending it would go away. I'd been to physios and chiropractors and osteopaths and been all down that route and not really found much help. And then I remember having like a breakdown. The breakdown happened and I was with my ex-boyfriend at the time and just crying my eyes out like it's getting worse. And, I was this big, strong personal trainer and I was really into bodybuilding and strength, but I was just in so much pain. And I remember I couldn't even walk one day. Like I was trying to go for a walk with my mum to walk the dog, and she was like in her late 60s walking along, and I'm like hobbling after her. I'm like, something is wrong,
Yeah.
So it was that was the turnaround point. And that's when I started to actually work with people that had scoliosis because I worked at Equinox, a gym in Vancouver, but also around the world. And people would come into Equinox with scoliosis, with spinal fusion, wanting a personal trainer. And that's kind of what started this realization, because I started to meet other people that had it. And I was the only trainer that had scoliosis or even understood what the hell it was.
Yeah,
you know,
we need more.
Exactly.
Oh my goodness.
So that working with other people, helping them feel better in their bodies, helping understand the mental effects of dealing with it.
Yeah, that's huge.
Help.
They left that
Yeah,
part out.
they really
They
left that
really
part
did.
out. They
That,
really left that part out. And that changed everything, really. And that's when I was like, I think this is that feeling I had when I was in my early 20s. This is how I help people with scoliosis. And to be able to help other people, I have to be able to help myself first. I have to be able to take a look at my scoliosis and not cry about it. I have to be able to talk to people about it and not be shaking in fear. And then, now I post my spine to thousands of people on the internet.
yeah,
And
amazing.
it's
a
a
lot of
really
work,
big,
but
it's
it's beautiful. It's really, I went all the way back. Like,
gosh.
to like some of your like first posts. I'm like your journey and like how open you are about it is just really, really awesome. And I just really, really appreciate it, because so many of us just wake up one day and like just do have that mental breakdown. I had it myself, and it was scary. It was just like, oh my goodness, like, what am I gonna do? I'm getting older, and now like my spine's getting older, and I'm just like, so it's definitely a lot to carry. And I'm glad that you've been able to work through it and carry it, and now I'm sure carry it for others, because you are helping others maybe get to that point. Maybe they're not there yet. So I'm just thankful.
Yeah. Oh, you're very welcome. And like you said, I love it. It's so funny how it's turned around the past 10 years of this thing that I hated and ran away from and cried when it was brought up. And now I love talking about it, and I love seeing other people's scoliosis, and I look at my own and I'm like, wow, it's just so fascinating. But I know that it's possible to get better with scoliosis because I've lived it myself. I've lived in the depression, the anxiety, I've lived in the pain, and I've come out the other end. And
good, that gives me hope. I feel like I'm still in that realm.
It's a really horrible, sticky realm to be in, and it's so hard to get out of. And we all have our own journeys, and it's all going to look very different for all of us. But the first step is really trying to come home to your body, to stop ignoring it. That was the real, when I first pressed like send on the first post that I ever posted on social media about my scoliosis, I think I probably cried for like 2 days. It was such a like, oh my God, like getting rid of all of this trauma and trying to ignore it.
You're just putting it out there for anyone. You're just like, but it's wild because there's so many of us too.
Exactly.
And like, thank goodness you took that leap. Thank goodness. Like, I say it all the time, like showing up online has saved me, because I was even worse depressed than I like working through things now, but coming online and finding like you at the beginning, and like Beth and Strength and Spine, and then Meredith, and like so many people I could keep naming that have scoliosis and fusion. It's just like, wow, like your inner child is just like healed, because you're like, oh, and now you get to kind of give this to others where you wish that you had it sooner, and instead of, like that. I find that to be like the best part about it.
Yeah, the community when it comes to dealing with scoliosis is huge, because I really find it's makes us feel so alone. We feel like we're the only ones in the world that have it. We feel, weird, like we have this thing wrong with us and no one understands. But really, it's very, very common, and more people have it than you know. And anyone listening to this now who thinks they're alone probably knows someone who has it who also thinks that they're alone, and you just haven't spoken about it yet because it's this like secret that we're all scared to talk about. But fortunately, now with social media and building this community and getting the word out there, that there's actually millions of us with scoliosis, I know, and that it's okay to have scoliosis. This is what I'm trying to get the word across, because I think from a young age, when we get diagnosed, everyone has their own journey, but we get told that it's this terrible thing and we have to fix it, and you can't do this, you can't do that, you're gonna, I've had clients that have been told that they're gonna die by the time they're 30, and just all of these terrible, I know, it's the crazy things that are said out there, honestly. But now it's like, okay, well, how can we get the word out that actually having a curve and a twist in your spine is okay, having a fusion is okay, it's just learning how to come home to your body, how to love your body, how to work with what you have, instead of this obsession of trying to fix it and thinking that you have something broken, because you don't. You're just a little twisty.
Yeah.
Exactly.
One thing I have to ask is, I personally, when I think I was 25, I finally decided on surgery after just years of pain, denying surgery before. And then, like, I remember someone saying to me, they mentioned trough, but in my head, I think, like, at 25, like, just reflecting back, I'm like, too little, too late. Like, I feel like I maybe, like, if someone would have, like, said it sooner prior to the decision in my mind being made up, but now learning all the holistic versions. Can we talk about holistic versions before fusion? Because as much as my fusion has helped my life, I don't regret it. I definitely think I would like to have this conversation for people who are maybe in that, realm, and I don't want it to come too late. So what type of holistic things can we do before we, decide to go for surgery?
Yes, excellent question. And let's start by saying that, firstly, surgery is wonderful and it helps so many people. And it is definitely the right decision in a lot of cases, especially with a severe scoliosis. However, we want to be really aware of our curves, and we want to make sure that we've kind of taken every avenue possible, ideally, before going down the surgical route, if that is an option for you. We also have to remember that there's always something you can do, no matter what age. I feel like sometimes it gets honed into us like you can only do something when you're a teenager, and then as an adult there's nothing you can do, when that's not the case. You can always do something, even if I've had clients in their 80s that have decided to start doing something, so it's never too late. Even with a fusion, it's never too late. Like you've always got to be looking after your scoliosis, your spine, no matter what happens with your journey. When it comes to the holistic methods, there's so much out there that really, it's finding something that you enjoy doing. I think that that's really important. How I approach it is with my training in fitness and yoga, and having worked with Schroth therapists and studying a lot with the Schroth method. I love the Schroth method. I think obviously it's scientifically proven to be able to.
It's really cool. The more I learn about it, I'm like, wow, this doesn't help. But then you learn, like, oh, this can help now too, because I still have, like, the curve.
It can.
But I didn't know
exactly.
that until I found all of you.
Yes. The scoliosis doesn't disappear after fusion. I think that's.
No, it does not.
It does not. It lives on, as I like to say. It lives from the feet all the way to the crown of your head, and it just you're always going to have it. Yeah. That's a hard pill to swallow sometimes.
That
Definitely. Been scared to think about that sometimes, but that's part of the journey as well, is the acceptance and realizing that no matter what we do, we're always going to have scoliosis. It's never 100% going to go away. So we have to find a way to work with it and to work with our curves instead of trying to fight against them. And that is where I love, personally, my style of scoliosis coaching is taking aspects of the Schroth method and combining it with strength training and yoga and Pilates and trying to make it a little bit more fun and realistic in a sense. I find, I know everyone's journey is different. Some people just love doing straight up Schroth and I think that that's awesome as well. But for me, I just got a little bit restless. I was like, I need something else.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what made my approach to it a little bit unique, because it wasn't just this one thing. It was like, oh
no, you have a lot of different, like I saw lateral jumping. I'm like, oh, that's so smart. Like, because with scoliosis, we're always off balance. So if you could practice movement in your corrective posture, I was like, wow, I've never seen that. So yeah,
it's working with our fascia. So the jumping and the moving and the lateral moving is important for a lot of things, but when you get really deep into learning about the human body and how scoliosis affects it, and you dive deeper into fascia, which is our system of like this connective web that holds everything together, and how that gets twisted. It's this big spiral of twisted fascia that holds you up and kind of holds you crooked and twisted as well. So when we start to move laterally or forwards or back, and especially the jumping, and you don't necessarily have to be jumping at all, but it just helps to kind of activate the fascia and hydrate things a little bit more, but whilst trying to be in that corrected posture, so you can start to almost teach your fascia, because it's this living system in our body that's highly intelligent, teach it to essentially remold, to restructure itself, to hold itself in a better position. So with consistency and practice and all of the other things with scoliosis that are helpful, like the breath work that we see a lot with Schroth and the active elongation and all of those things combined together, just make a really awesome way to treat scoliosis. That's a little bit more fun as well, and trains you for I love fun. Like, trains you for everyday life, right? I love to ski. I'm a massive skier and I jump around on my skis and all those kind of things. So when I'm training, I love to, work for my scoliosis, but how can I move as well as possible within my calves so that when I'm doing something like skiing, it doesn't hurt me? I can just, like,
my muscles are already used to this because like I practice it. That's really cool. It's a really good way. Yeah, like I see like a lot of like some of your movements that you kind of like practice and things are like very things that you would find yourself doing. Like I said, what's that one called? The suitcase hold. And like the corrective posture. I was like, oh, I could try that. Like I found lots of good things. I went all through.
Yeah, you should definitely try it. The suitcase hold is such a good exercise for those of us with scoliosis or fusion, because it, again, when you're in your corrected posture, it just means that you're bringing yourself into your best version of alignment within your calf. And then you add a little bit of resistance to that. So you're holding a weight on one side, which is the suitcase hold. That is going to create tension through your body and through your fascia and get your body like trying to hold itself in a different way and strengthen itself in a different way. And you can apply that, like when you're in the supermarket and you're holding a basket in one arm, that's a suitcase hold. That's an everyday thing that you're doing. And when you practice something like a suitcase hold, it can make holding a shopping basket in one arm or picking up your child or your dog or, those little things that you do throughout the day a little bit less, easier and less painful, and just being able to help you move better throughout the day, which I think is a massive thing that I really try and hone in with my scoliosis clients. And, of course, with my own scoliosis as well.
Yeah, definitely. I don't know if this is a silly question, but I guess the question is like eventually after like you've been practicing that you said you were in pain and now like most of your pain kind of isn't there because of all like the things you've learned and, committed to. Do you think it ever, like, does it get, I know we'll always have to get into the corrected posture, but does it ever like, does the fascia ever, can it ever get untwisted enough that like you have to think less sometimes about and the body is kind of moving and just sitting there? Like, does it change? Does that make sense how I'm asking that?
Yes, I know what you mean. Yes.
Okay.
I think the answer is yes. So you can definitely strengthen and train your body in a way that when you are passively sat down, when you're relaxed, when you're seated, that you're holding yourself up better passively.
Okay.
Because if you strengthen the muscles along your spine, if you strengthen the muscles in your core, your shoulders, they are your support system, and your fascia as well. Your fascia is like this tensegrity system that holds you up. And once that is stronger and, not collapsing in on itself as much,
Yep.
you can passively hold yourself up a little bit straighter. It's not going to be perfectly, we're always going to be a little bit asymmetrical.
Yeah, of course. But that's cool to know, like, I guess it's cool to know that the body can, like, unlearn and relearn how to fit.
Totally. One thing I like to think about with scoliosis is we can look at it like yin and yang, Scoliosis and fusion, we can let it get worse or it can get better. It can move in two directions. It's like day and night, good and bad. There's always two sides to it. And it's like, which side are we going to let happen? If it can go one way, it can go the other way.
Definitely go the other way.
Exactly. So that's why I really encourage people to look after their bodies and their spines as much as possible.
I definitely need to. Everyone knows who's listened to this podcast. I've been on this like journey to try and find consistency, but I feel like I myself, like I have ADHD, so like that plays into consistency and being able to do things. And like, it's just like, what would you say to someone who has a hard time being consistent but wants to be consistent? And like, what's like one small thing you could do each day to try and at least get that one thing there to help build consistency for your spine?
Mm-hmm. Good question. Start really small. Really, really small. Start with a 2-minute. I like to think of it.
For 5. 2 minutes could be doable.
Yeah, do something as doable as possible as you get started. Okay. 2 minutes of either a seated correction, like bringing yourself into your best version of alignment seated, or standing, and trying to hold that for 5 to 10 deep breaths. It's going to be difficult. Our bodies are always trying to find the path of least resistance. They're always trying to conserve energy. So when you're bringing yourself into your corrected posture, it's going to be tiring. It's going to be hard work, and it's going to be uncomfortable, and it's probably going to be achy as you first get started. So that's something that's always really...
That's normal. Because I have started, normal. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is like really hard. Like, I just like breathing in one, and I'm just like, wow. So that's good to know.
It's going to be hard as you first get started. And you have to think of it as well, like your body has spent so many years kind of stuck in this one position. And then suddenly it's like you try and elongate, or you try and gently put it into a different position. Of course, the muscles are going to be like, what are you doing? Going on? Exactly. So they're gonna have a conversation with you, and you're gonna have to talk to them back and tell them it's okay, it's safe, I'm trying to help you. It's like that, trying to come into your body and just let your nervous system know that it is okay. And that is why starting with 2 minutes of elongation and then building from there. Maybe you do 1 week of just 2 minutes of elongation, like a standing elongation every day, where you're taking 5 to 10 deep breaths, and then building on that, because after a week of doing that consistently for 2 minutes, it will start to feel better. It will start to get easier, and then you can slowly add something else into that. Yeah, like wow, there's so many things that you can do that it's hard to really say exercises specifically, but
Do you have, I guess, if you could think of a client with like a spinal fusion and a client without one, does anyone have like a favorite thing? I know everybody's different, but do you notice any like trends of like favorite movements for like a scoliosis no fusion or scoliosis with fusion?
Yeah, I think a scoliosis with no fusion, really love elongation. So that kind of then an active elongation, which means that you're keeping muscle activation as you're elongating your spine, because we don't want to just yank our spines as much as we can passively.
Yeah.
Even though that would kind of make sense if you think of it in your head, you just pull your spine and straighten it out. But unfortunately, it's not as easy as that.
Yeah.
And that can make things worse. So when we're doing elongation, we always want to think about active closed chain, ideally elongation. That's can be a really nice feeling when you're not fused. It can be a nice feeling as well when you're fused, because you still have the vertebrae above and below the fusion that will experience that elongation, which can be quite nice. What I find with fused clients is the breathing and the expansion, especially like trying to get them to really connect with their rib cage and expand into their ribs, because you can get movement in your ribs. I think we get in our head that when you're fused, everything is fused and nothing can move.
Yeah.
When actually your spine is fused 100%, but the ribs, they have freedom.
Move.
They move. Yeah, they move.
They do. Okay.
Yeah, and sometimes the breathing and just connecting with them and feeling that expansion is just like such a wow feeling. I can imagine with a fusion, when you felt so stuck for so long, and it's like, well, actually I can get some movement there.
Yeah, that's one that it's funny you say that one, because that's like what I started with. I need to be more consistent, but I'm going to try. You got 2 minutes. I'm making goals.
2 minutes. You can do this. 2 minutes.
Like, I need to do it because like I literally think of older me and I'm like, girl, get it together now.
Exactly. You've got to remember your why. That's always a key thing as well. When you can't be bothered, and trust me, so many times I cannot be bothered. That is like, we're working all day.
Stuck there.
Yeah. But you have to remember your why. Like, why are you doing this? Why did you tell yourself you're going to do 2 minutes? You got to think of the future version of you, as you said, and just know that you are supporting that future version of you, and you're caring for yourself. It's self-love when we really take that 2 minutes and we do that work. We are giving our bodies the love that they are desperately craving for, desperately asking for. It's just that battle between our mind and our body, and telling our mind, no, I don't care if I'm tired. We're going to do this. And then usually once you start doing it, it's absolutely fine.
Feel better after. I'm like, okay, just remember how you feel after, Jack. And then it's just like my mind, the mental health game with my journey at least is just such a, in my language, because it really is like the hardest thing I've ever journeyed upon, because now like your scoliosis is still progressive, and like you learn that like you still have scoliosis after fusion. You're like, okay, and then you like find all this information. You're just like, I'm so excited, but how do I stick with it and give myself the love that I deserve after years of just like I related to what you said, because you said you watched yourself progress. And I know when you said ribs move, I'm like, I'm like, something's going down in my lumbar curve, because I feel like these ribs on my side is the side where I always get them confused. Concave is the tighter side. So like, I guess my convex side would be the side where the rib is popping out, right?
If it's convex, yeah, it usually has the prominent side.
Okay.
So the bit that like pokes out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh no, it's like starting to poke out more. So like you know that like you need to do it, but like there's just that mental block. And it was just really nice to like see that. I'm like, oh, I'm not alone. Like Claudia had that, and like she's just doing it, and she's like completely on the other side. So I just really want to say thank you for sharing that, because it honestly like made me feel seen, and not like, because I think sometimes we beat ourselves up. We're so mean to ourselves, and reading that I was like, okay, I don't need to be mean to myself. I just need to, start with 2 minutes a day.
Exactly. Yeah. You're allowed to, it's allowed to not be perfect. It really is. It's allowed to be messy. You're allowed to suck at it. All of those things. You have to be a beginner in order to get better at something. And it's being bad at something that is where the growth really happens, especially when you're just starting your scoliosis journey. So you're going to have moments of failure, and that's okay. But it's understanding that and realizing, oh, I don't actually have to be perfect. I don't have to do it every single day. I'm allowed to have my moments of rest, and to have my mental health moments, and all of those things that we have when we have scoliosis. But we also have to come back and be like, okay, now I'm going to come back into it, and I'm going to just take that moment for myself and remember it's self-love. It's the best thing that you can really do for yourself, and it will make you feel better. It's just that fight with your head to do it in the first place.
Yeah. Just tug of war in my mind all the time.
Oh yeah.
It's hilarious. So one more thing I want to ask you is, if you could meet your 13-year-old self and tell them about their future with scoliosis, what would you tell them?
Oh, I would say to her that everything's going to be okay. And you don't have to be embarrassed by this. And you're going to be strong and healthy and active, and you're going to do the things that you enjoy. And the sooner you do it, the better.
Yeah. I'll get on it, I promise.
Yeah. I just, I wish, we always think that we wish we started sooner, right?
Yeah.
But now is the perfect time to start. That's the soonest that you can start is now. So, and it's never too late to start doing something. It's never too late. So you got to envision yourself from 5 years now. Is it 5 years of progress or 5 years of excuses?
Fun. 10 years of my fusion, and I'm just starting this journey, which is so nerve-wracking. But if anyone is listening, like with the fusion, it is never too late, and it's okay to find your resources later. So
yeah, it's
such a wild journey.
It is, and it's a dark journey. It's a dark journey, and that's the one thing that I love with the scoliosis retreats that I run.
I was just going to talk about that. Yay! Okay,
yeah,
we read my mind.
Well, it's just that the mental health aspect is just so important for me, and to be able to help other people really deal with it, because it's not just a physical issue with the spine. It affects us on so many deeper levels that we don't even realize that are affecting us. And at my retreats, we have kind of circle time where we'll spend time, after our class or before our class or after lunch or wherever, where we come round into a circle and we just share. We just talk about our experience with dealing with scoliosis or fusion. And it's funny, at first, it's always a little bit kind of like everyone's a bit hesitant, and it's a bit, no one's really experienced that before. Yeah. But then after a couple of days, we're all crying and hugging, and like people's deepest, darkest secrets have come out to the world, and we've just kind of like shared everything. But it's like this huge weight gets lifted, like off of your chest, off of your mind, just like, oh, like I can talk to someone about this and have other
And
people
feel seen.
understand. Exactly. Yeah. Because so many times, like, we'll go to the doctors, we'll tell them that we have an issue. They're like, you're fine. There's nothing wrong,
Yeah.
you know? And you're just dismissed. But that's so not the case. And it's such a beautiful experience when you can eventually connect with other people that have it and talk about the trauma. Scoliosis is trauma.
Yeah, it is. I wish more
I
wish I understood that, because I think we put in our heads like trauma is just one thing and this could never be trauma. And then like you're like, no, this is trauma. Like the whole experience is trauma. And then if you have surgery, that is a traumatic, life-changing surgery. And it's just, yeah, it's so beautiful that I love that. I was looking at like you know, I told you I went all the way back, and I saw like you originally started to go to a retreat when you turned 30. You went on your first solo trip and did a retreat, right?
Yeah.
That's really cool. And now you're hosting these retreats. So just full circle moment. That's so cool.
Yeah, it was because I'd heard of a scoliosis retreat before COVID. I remember it was like 2019. I just moved to Vancouver, and Martha from Twisted Outreach, who is actually my colleague and friend now, who we host retreats together, and I was like, you know, just Googling scoliosis help like in Vancouver, and she popped up, and I saw that there was a retreat, and I was like, what? There's a scoliosis retreat? Like, this is amazing.
So cool.
Yeah, I was like, oh my God, I wanted to sign up for it. And then COVID happened. And obviously we had all of that, and I never went, and I never got to go, and I thought about it for years. And I guess it wasn't until 2022 or 2023, I don't know, all those years kind of blur together, that they started doing the retreats again, and I was like, hey, I'm going. Like, this is the start of the journey.
Yes.
Like, I've really got to take this seriously. And I went, and I kind of just started posting on social media myself about scoliosis. So I was definitely curious to be like that. And Deborah Woke was teaching, and she was just so knowledgeable about scoliosis. So I was so excited to get there and learn.
Yeah.
But when I got there, I realized how traumatic having scoliosis was. Like, I cried the whole time. I journaled everything. I remember one of the kitchen staff found out that she had scoliosis, so she came to join our retreat for like a day or something, and we were all just crying because she came in and she started crying, and it was just so emotional. And I was like, it was a lot. But
yeah, the first time you probably got to unpack.
Exactly. And I came out of that, and I was like, this is what I need to do. This is what I have to provide for other people, and I have to get into this world a little bit more. And then obviously after that, I think I was an assistant to one of Martha's scoliosis retreats, and I really got to learn kind of the behind the scenes of what happens in the retreats. Yeah. And then we started our own one, and we've done 3 now for the past 3 years, and we've got one in November in Mexico,
right?
Yeah.
Yes. What are the dates for that? Share that in case anyone listening wants to sign up for a scoliosis retreat.
I believe it is the 6th to the 11th of November, but I do not know if that is 100% correct off the top of my head. But it's like around.
I have it up for you because, you know, it is. No, you're right. If anyone wants to sign up, it is Sunday, November 8th through November 8th through Sunday, November 15th of this year.
Oh, okay. I was almost right.
Yeah, you were right.
And it's a beautiful experience. You should come if you can.
I know. I'm like, oh my goodness. I'm like, I really want to. I was reading all about it before we got connected, and it looks so cool.
Yeah, and it's not just, we do the physical sides of dealing with scoliosis, and Martha had a fusion, so she's you know, had that whole journey.
So you got one-on-one. Yeah,
exactly. And she teaches a lot of the somatic side of it. She's a character as well. Like the two of us together, like Tweedledee and Tweedledum of the Scoliosis world, but just like funny characters.
Yes, we need that.
Yeah, exactly. And last year we did this dance. That was so I didn't film any of that. That did not end up on any of my social media because it was just, but we were just having so much fun and just being so silly. And, we have people like that from 13 all the way up to like 80. Like it's all age ranges.
That.
And we're all just dancing around and being silly and 1 minute laughing, and then the next minute we're crying, and then the next minute we're in some funny scoliosis exercise, and then we're doing some somatics, and then we're on the beach, and then it's just
it's
a lot
wonderful.
of fun.
It sounds like you get just everything that I feel like you just needed when you were younger, and you get to like have a healing time with people who get it, and it looks amazing. I'm like, I need to go. I find them to be so, like, the fact that you can do a scoliosis retreat, like, I just would have never. I think your page was the first time I saw of one. So it's really cool that you've done like 3 now and you're on to 4. It's just
we really kind of, it just, and I see more kind of popping up now, which is awesome. I think that we need more scoliosis retreats, but I think having the experience of going to one myself and having that kind of like mind-blowing like moment of how needed it is for the scoliosis world, and then coming into the space myself as a coach, I was like, I absolutely need to be providing retreats for people, and having a background as a yoga teacher and doing a lot of meditation and teaching classes and stuff like that just really helps add a different unique approach to it as well. I think
I definitely agree. It's really cool that you kind of you get everything all in one. It's really, really cool. One more question for clarification. What is somatic? Because I understand Shaw, Pilates, strength training, holistic approaches, but what specific, can you just explain what somatic is?
It's, for me, it's a way of really deeply connecting with your body. So it's a very slow form of movement. And I hadn't experienced it until I went to I was assisting Martha's retreats, and she let me join in her, and when she was teaching it, and I got to just join in and experience it myself. But you're basically, there's lots of ways that you can do it, but we would lie down on the floor a lot, and we kind of move like one shoulder, and then we move another hip, and you're kind of just like moving all these different parts of your body and really connecting with how that feels within the joints, but just like noticing how parts of your body move together. And it's really helpful for getting people to connect to their bodies, to come home and notice their rotations, notice all the little imbalances within their body, and just really get that body awareness. I think one of the things when it comes to exercise and having scoliosis, we can be so rushed into being like, I want to get strong and I want to go to the gym and I want to lift weights and but we kind of miss the soft part, the somatic part, the coming home to our body, the connecting with our body.
Yeah.
You would benefit a lot from somatics, I reckon.
Yeah, I probably would. Do you cry after you feel connected? Because I'll probably just start crying.
Yeah, I think crying is such an important part of it. It really is, like that release of that crying and finally just accepting it and coming home to it and feeling it. Like, we need that release. We need to cry. And I always encourage people to cry. Crying is good. Don't be afraid of it. It's good, especially in terms of your scoliosis.
Yeah, definitely. It's like a release for sure. Okay, so somatics.
Absolutely.
I'm going to learn more about somatics. Making goals. Anyone else listening, make some goals if you're struggling to be consistent like myself, because, it's never too late.
Yeah. Yeah. And yes.
Sorry, I just got excited. What were you going to say? Sorry, I'm like to cut you off. I didn't mean to.
I don't even know.
Oh, no, I did it to you too. I always said
Yeah, it's okay.
all the time. Okay. Well, closing out. I'm so excited we got to talk about the retreat. Again, if anyone wants to sign up for that, I just like to make call outs. That's November 8th through now I can't do math. I'm going with 13th that week. But thank you so much, Claudia, for just coming on here, sharing your wisdom, sharing your story. It was so nice to meet you and talk to you, and I'm just so grateful for meeting you through the community online, because you and so many others have truly changed my life, and I just really appreciate you coming on here today.
Thank you so much, and it really has been an absolute pleasure. I love talking about scoliosis. I could talk about it all day, but
Me too,
obviously
literally.
we don't have that much time in the
I'm
day to talk about
if I
it.
didn't have a 9 to 5, I would just stay here talk to you.
Yes, I know. And well, there's always more. If anyone listening wants to reach out, you can find me on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube at the Scoli Coach. So come and say hi, and I'm always happy to help and hear your stories in any way, and just help people with the scoliosis journeys.
Yes. Thank you.
Yay.
And thank you to everyone for joining us in this episode. And until then, I'll see you in the next one.